Waiting for the folks from the restaurant to join in. I'm trying to figure out why I can't hear you. Let's see here.
Testing, testing. One,
Oh,
two,
there
three.
you are. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, just fine.
Okay.
Am I the first one?
You're the first one. Yes, I know there's at least two couples at the restaurant in Salt Lake. I couldn't make it down, but I figured, I know there's a couple of other people that asked, hey, can you record something? So I said, why not? So did you serve strictly under President Call?
Yes.
So I was in the first group that got down after he left. So
Oh.
part of it. I got there July 3rd of 73, the day after the Wettons got there, and 2 days after the Calls left.
Huh. I have very fond memories of President Wetton. Yeah, he came out, he and his wife came out to see us when we were having a district meeting in Toulon Single. And one of the things I most remember him for was a question he asked me where he said, so how's the work? And I says, well, I do the tracting a little bit different than everybody else. I don't knock on every door. I walk down the street and I look at each door. And and whenever I feel impressed to knock on a door, then I knock on it. And I said, we get about a 91 to 92% success rate of getting in the doors when we do that. And he looked at me and said, really? And I said, yeah, I didn't come down here to waste my time. I wanted to get some things rolling. And I was stunned when I found out that he implemented that policy mission-wide when he took control.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
So you never know when something you may say may have a profound influence on the course of somebody's life, huh?
So you must have left right before they got down there then.
Well, I left, let's see here. Well, that's a long time ago. I left at the, let's see here, at the end of June in 1973.
So, yep, you were, that's the time that they came down the first part of July, just a few days later.
Well, the Wettons were known to have two places of abode. They had a place there in Mexico, and I'm not sure just where it was. And they also had a place in Mesa, which is where I live now. And I just had the pleasure of meeting the Wettons on the one occasion. So they seem to be very kind and considerate people. So I'm sure that that it was a delight for you to serve under them.
It was, and I think those who had the opportunity to serve under both President Call and President Wetton, they have special memories of both. And,
yeah.
I did have later on have the opportunity of actually interviewing President Call. This would have been 99. We were working on an oral history of the church in Mexico, which has kind of been, there's one version of it out there that I had students in my documentary production class at BYU Idaho put together, and they did a pretty good job.
Huh.
Well, there's a hotbed of returned missionaries down there in Mesa. You've got
but
Dan Bates and Bob Blaylock, and
yeah, Bob was my last companion.
Really?
Yeah.
Except I don't think he was from Mesa at that time. I think he lived somewhere else.
Yeah, he as I remember, he was always from Mesa, although he originated from someplace in California. And he didn't want to talk about it, so I didn't push the issue.
I'm just trying to see if okay, hang on a second. They need the link again to see if I can copy this somehow. So bear with me.
Sure. Did you ever manage to get back to see what became of the mission after you left?
Yes, I'll tell you about that. I've had,
Okay,
but let me get this off.
sure. I'll shut up and let you get that done.
Of course, I can mute you, but I won't be that rude. No. Okay. Oh, come on. Oh, here's David Rigby.
Well, I can't even remember what he looks like.
Hey, Rigby, what's going on? I'm trying to get just the link without taking me actually into the program, which is
Seems to me I've got an old copy of the mission Christmas card somewhere here in my treasures of trash. Did you ever go to Iguala?
yes. I never served. The farthest south I served was Cuernavaca.
Oh,
Hello, Scott. Looks like your phone's still trying to connect to the audio.
well,
Rigby
when you
is
came
muted.
up, I rarely, if ever, use this. And when you came up, there was a mute button over on the bottom left, and it was on. And as soon as I scoped that out, I clicked on it, and then you came through.
Now, I made it to Iguala once for a district meeting, and the missionaries there didn't believe that we were actually missionaries because the previous missionaries had been sent home from their mission.
Really?
Yes.
May I ask when that happened?
Well, it happened 6 months before I got down there, so it would have been when you were still down there. The President Call even closed the area because
Oh no! Oh no!
you know
Man,
what
I sweat blood. I sweat blood trying to get that branch back together because about 9 months before I got there, somebody else had committed fornication and he got sent home, and it just ripped that branch to pieces.
Yeah, it was.
I'll ask for another. I'll ask for another.
They're having fun eating.
And then work.
They're having fun eating. I can.
We're having a hard time hearing. There's a lot of background noise here.
Okay.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Was it on the page?
Yeah, it was on the mission reunion page.
There's my first companion there.
It's hard. I even have my hearing aids on. Feel the background noise. It's still good noise.
It's amazing some of the things they can do. Like Jen had an app on her phone that could to point the direction of her hearing aid. I'm like, you're kidding.
Yeah,
It's just
I
a
can do
neat-
that online. I can stream music, I can stream phone calls. Some people, oh, you hear guys, no, I don't. Yeah, she's talking to me, I listen to my hearing aids, and I says, what? Oh, you have hearing aids? Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm seeing the phone, so I can't. I have to go turn off the Bluetooth.
Hello, Rick.
Ron, I
Hey,
don't know if
hey, Ron, it's really
if
noisy in
you
here.
can hear me, but this was a great recommendation. Coming to the Red Iguana is just right.
Once you
Are
get
you
here.
eating some nice mole?
Yeah, oh yeah, we're getting the mole negro, my wife and I.
Well, that's a smart move.
Did you find the link?
Ask for my name?
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna turn down my sound because now we're echoing from here.
Oh, yeah, because we're,
Well, maybe we should have done this a little later. They could-
it's funny, you go back 2 years. No one even, Zoom was at the bottom of the heap. No one ever used Zoom. There were 3 others ahead of it. But now, I mean, you know, church, and she belongs to DUP, and they use, everyone uses Zoom.
Oh, Ron, let me in.
He won't let you? Or he did?
I'm waiting for the host to let me in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Here.
Hey, Ron, let me in.
You're in, Greg. You're in now.
Enable access camera. There we go. Okay. That's better.
We had a son that served in Germany, and a daughter that served in Japan.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's good international stuff.
And he met, my son met his wife on a mission to go to,
Greg's having problems with an iPhone.
she's from the Czech Republic. And we have a son-in-law. He was born in Mexico.
Turn him down so we can back up.
He lived, yeah, when he was 5, they moved up here.
So we've done a eclectic group because of our family.
Like
So I know
one
the
of my
background
sons and
noise
his
is-
wife met, and they were both missionaries in Atlanta.
But I am recording.
You might be President, you gotta move me. I'm in love with Sister Olkerson.
But I remember there are a couple of girls that like me, one from Chalmita and another one from Tepic Nayarit. And President One said, elders, stop bringing the strength of Mexico out. And so all the elders looked at me because they knew, and they said, elder, my elder would be. But anyway, so he told him, I said, I'll write him. One girl didn't carry it, the other accepted it, but yeah. And she still made plans to go up to Arizona. They never made it. But she and her husband and kids stayed at our house one evening. They're good missionaries. But the best ward missionaries are right where the temple sits. I served in that one. What do they call it? Aragon. You know, 3-sided little building with cinder block and a tin roof. When it rained, you couldn't hear anything. And there was a guy that was a groundskeeper, stayed there all the time. Yeah, I walked in that. They said, you're only going to be here 1 month. But I walked in there. The word missionaries were prepared 13 people. We just had to teach them. So they all got testimonies then. And, you know, we just walked into those. And we lived with a chemist. Very few times they let us live with members. We live just upstairs, and the chemist lives downstairs. So that was nice. We had a hostess factory in the area. So I think there were 4 or 6 of us. So the elders, whose turn is it? We feel a bad this fall. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, when Ron said, unmute yourself. So I did, and I've muted again. Yeah. That's how we do it in priesthood and early and Sunday school. So.
We get
I get to go back to church.
Somehow I left, but he needs to put me back in.
So is our,
So I had to turn on my video.
so you are going to
Hey, Scott? Scott?
and wear your mask?
Scott
Yeah.
Hartman.
We haven't yet. Scott was just saying he returned to Halloween.
Like,
Everybody.
I've heard every other. Greg?
Yeah.
Ron, let Greg in again. He left and he's locked out again.
They might have to connect up with.
There he is. We got him this
Yeah,
time.
we were split for a while, but the last few weeks.
And I'm one of the ward organists. That's that. I play 1 week and then. Where do you go?
you played all the time in the mission, didn't you?
Piano.
I like that. I like that Mayetta.
There were two. When my dad was a bishop, he says, start learning your hymns. I'm sorry for you. So I taught myself all the hymns. Yeah. Have I done any good? I never mastered that. And
They have
conference,
a,
guess what they asked me to play?
youth camp
That was the last time I played.
for FSY, for the Strength of Youth
I was in a bishop.
gatherings, right at the summit between Mexico City and Puebla. A little town called Rio Frio.
And he said,
And it's an incredible camp. They'll take 4 or 5 states from each mission and let them have a week there. They have a huge cafeteria. They got a big place where everybody can singing, presentations, programs. It's incredible for the youth.
Wow.
They've got these beautiful houses that kind of like Benny Medito. They can put 30 in a house.
He helped build them.
I don't know if
He played, and then when they take it over to wherever he plays again, he got mastered in organ performance. That was our teacher. He scared us to death one time. He brought in Farley Belknap. I didn't want to play in front of Farley.
Trying to get a word in edgewise with
it's
Ricky
fun.
so much, and he's
And I
muted.
know I had trouble with foot fellows until they set me apart. Then all of a sudden I'm going, whoa, what happened?
Did any of you hear my little story about Rio Frio or not?
I don't
I
think
heard
I
it.
did, Greg.
Someone that knew about it.
What's that?
I don't
I heard
think I did, Greg. No.
Okay.
I heard it.
Kid, one of my piano
Ricky's
teachers-
talking.
For the Strength of Youth Mexico, there it is. I got the shirt.
Oh, there you go. I looked at her once and said, wow, and that's the only thing I've ever thought about. Yeah, that's,
Hey, Greg, can you hear me? Can you hear me okay,
she's
Greg?
got the lead, gone through a choir for 40
Yeah.
years.
Okay, can you, can you get each person
Wow.
to tell us who they are, where they served, when they
Our current
served,
director is from
one at a time?
graduated in music. Track, he's on San Computer.
Yeah, I know everybody's talking here. I apologize.
He's really good.
No, that's fine, but we're kind of limited on our Zoom time.
I know. I want to suggest one of the time speakers. I'm muted. Oh, at the table here? Yeah, I think we hear each other. Oh.
Yeah, I think I'm muted.
I'll turn my speaker
We're
down.
trying to be quiet here for a minute. Ron, you got anything as words of wisdom?
Oh, he's asking us to introduce ourselves.
Yeah, there's 5 of us online right now, 3 of you there, and we've got Kim down in Mesa and me here in Rexburg. I thought it'd be nice just to, I think this is really the first time I met Kim, because he left right before the Wettons got down there, which is when Ricky and I
No wonder.
got there. But I think it'd be kind of nice
It's
to
trying
everybody
to, it was still connected to the car.
tell us who you served under and some of the places you remember serving. And so since you guys have the noisy restaurant, let's do David, and then Greg, and then Scott, then Kim, then myself. So
Okay.
Ricky, you're up.
What?
Yeah, tell us where you served.
Okay, Dave Rigby, and let's see, trying to remember all of them. I was first in Montreal, and then I went to Tepic, Nayarit, came back to Chalmita, Served in Madero for quite a time. Out in Aragon for 1 month. That's right where the temple sits, that area. Then went down to Iguala for 5 months. And then came back to whatever the area is just above Xochimilco, that area of the city. That was my last area for 5 months.
See, there was Ermita, but then there was one just below Ermita, with a chapel, with the buildings.
Yeah. So,
Greg Stevens, I was there from early 72 to early 74 under President Call mostly, but I was in the office when President Whetten came in. And I served in Querétaro, I served in Nápoles, I served in Roma, I served in Ermita, in Camarones, in Chalmita, and then finished up in Guad. And while I was in Guad as the zone leader with Elder Newman, we got a call that they were transferring Tepic from the Hermosillo mission to our mission. And I had to go up and find the missionaries. And we had no idea where to find them. We just hopped in our car and drove up to Tepic, and we found them on the street out doing their work. Welcomed them into the mission. I think we stayed overnight in their apartment and drove back the next day.
All right, sounds good. Kim, you're up.
And then I've been back, served another mission in Mexico with my wife about 4 years ago. We were the area medical advisors, and I visited every mission. There were 34. I got 33 of the 34. The only one I didn't make it to was Reynosa. And I had plane tickets to Reynosa with my wife. And we got a call Sunday night saying, "You're not going to Reynosa, Elder Stevens." I said, "Why not?" And they said, "Well, the federales are moving in and there's going to be a big gun battle, so you're not going." So I didn't.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, so that was the only mission I didn't hit. Otherwise, I think we were in 120 or 130 different cities in Mexico.
Sounds good. Kim, your turn.
Okay, I got to the mission in June of 1971. I served in Moctezuma, Netzahualcoyot, Querétaro, Tulancingo, Agricola Oriental.
My name is Scott Tarbett. This is my wife,
I'm
Julie.
sorry,
I was,
Kim, it's Scott.
I got to the Mexico City mission in December of 73 and went home from the Guad mission in December of 75. I served first in Pachuca, Hidalgo, and then in Tacubaya, and then went out to Benemérito for a little while, then into the mission home, out to Querétaro to be the DL from there, and then they were getting ready to split the mission. So I went up to help get the mission home set up, and the mission president there promised me I could serve wherever in the Guad mission I wanted to for my last area. And I chose Tepic, Nayarit, and Agrini. And we went out to Tepic and had the best time at companion with no English whatsoever. That was so good for my language. And then I came back to the mission home again to finish up the last couple of months because they were getting ready to do some stake splitting, and they had a bunch of administrative stuff they needed done. So I went and did that and went home from there in time for Christmas of 75.
Okay, Kim, now it's finally your turn.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Breaker on the 1-9. I got to the Mexico mission in June of 1971, and I served in Moctezuma. From Moctezuma, I went to Netza, from Netza to Querétaro, from Querétaro to Tulancingo, from Tulancingo to Agricola Oriental, And then from Agricola Oriental, I went to Iguala. And then I finished up in Industrial. And I left the mission in June of 1973.
Okay.
Be jealous. Be very, very jealous.
Yeah, that does look yummy. So I won't take too long in the thing. Ricky and I are in the same group. We both got down there the day after the wetlands. So we arrived, this was July 3rd, 1973. My first area was Cuernavaca, which Elder Tovar and I reopened after it had been closed for 6 months. And then I was in
Una pregunta para ustedes.
Dígame, joven.
then I was transferred in Mexico City in Tacubaya. You know, Greg had mentioned that he
Algo que me recuerda en México.
Elder Newman,
Ah,
my senior.
Plaza de las Tres Culturas.
¿Qué más? Sí, está muy bonito.
I'm still listening to you, Ron.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, these guys all know me anyway. So then after, let's see, after Tacubaya, it was Tlalnepantla, then Aragon,
Oh.
Coronas,
This, right?
then Irapuato, all the strawberries you could ever want to eat. And
Now, Bob Blaylock served in Irapuato. Were you with him then?
no, he was, I muted all the other people. I've talked to Bob about that because he was there when it flooded.
Yeah.
And, but that was months before I even got into the mission.
Kim, I've got a question for you.
Sure.
When were you in Querétaro?
I went out there in, let's see here, in January of 1972. And I
Okay,
left
Were you
in
with
May.
Romney then? Because
Say again?
were you with Romney?
Yes.
Okay, I took your place then.
Okay. Now the pieces are coming together.
Yeah. I took your place because I got there in March, I think end of March or April, 1st of April, 72.
Do you know whatever happened to Lynn?
What did you ask him?
Whatever happened to Lynn Romney? I saw him at BYU, but I guess he went back to the colonies to raise fruit.
I saw him a couple of years ago. Went down to the colonies.
Okay, so that's where he did end up.
Yeah, he's there. He went through a divorce with his first wife, and then he got pretty bad rheumatoid arthritis.
I'm
So his
sorry.
health isn't that good. He's remarried, has another wife right now. And she wasn't there. I'm thinking she's Hispanic.
Really?
He's got a nice little home just half a block or block away from the temple.
Well, now he's got something to do. Do you remember the La Familia Guardado? Carmelita and Gonzala Guardado in
No, I'm
Querétaro?
not remembering that.
Okay.
I remember when I got there for the transfer, I got there at like 11 in the morning, and the maids came and let me in, and I waited, and about 9 at night, the two junior companions came back, and Romney had stayed in, they'd done a switch, and they were in Salamanca, I think, or anyway, we had to hop on a bus and go change back and get you back, I guess. You could pack your bags and go. And do you remember that?
I don't.
Yeah, I got there early in the day, and it was midnight before I got to bed.
Huh. Yeah, that's kind
It
of fun. I
didn't split.
remember that I left Querétaro in the morning and I got to Tulancingo late that following afternoon. It was a long bus ride.
Yeah. Where did you? Oh, I'm sorry. Where did you go from Querétaro?
Went to Tulancingo.
Oh
Hidalgo.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a long one.
Yeah. I was in Hidalgo with Elder Guzman and Kent Browning.
I was in an apartment with Guzman and Ermita. There were two of us in the little Ermita apartment.
I understand he's a stake patriarch now in Celaya.
He also had a very high government job. He was a professor in agronomics or something. I don't know. But he was very prominent scientist down there.
Huh. I'm pleased to hear that because the last thing I heard, he wanted to go into medicine.
He was in agronomy or something, science.
So how many actually showed up there tonight? How many couples?
Well, 2.5.
2.5, yeah.
My wife, since we went on our mission recently to Mexico, she said she'd had enough Spanish.
Okay.
Yeah, Elder Jones couldn't make it back out.
Where does Elder Jones live?
He lives in Las Vegas, but his mom lives up in Bear River, Bear Lake.
Okay, because I see pictures of Bear River all the time with him.
Yeah, he was hoping to get one of those Allegiant flights, from Vegas to Idaho Falls, and we're even talking about, I'm 30 minutes from Idaho Falls. We were gonna maybe do breakfast or lunch, depending on the flight, maybe dinner, and then I guess he just couldn't get out for some reason.
This is really good.
Isn't it? I mean, wow.
It'd be nice to hear what everybody did to make it out.
Well, I can share a couple of things. I took care of President Whetten in his last years of life down in Mesa. He and his wife moved down there after he got back from his third mission. I guess he was called into Guad because the mission president was sick and the wife was running the mission and elders were dating and doing all kinds of horrible things. And he got into that mission and had to send about 15 or 20 missionaries home.
Oh my gosh.
But he would not send home the natives because he thought, you send them home, they'll never come back to the church. So to make sure they were doing what they're supposed to, he would show up unannounced at cities all over, of native companions that he was worried about, just to check on them and trail them and follow them. It about ruined his health because he was traveling all the time trying to keep an eye on those missionaries that he loved so much that he wanted to keep in the mission.
So, I'm really perplexed to understand what caused the missionaries to do that.
Well, the mission president got really sick, like I say, and his wife was basically running the mission. And they just got away with murder. There was nobody watching the store.
Oh, wow.
Then he was sent down to, El Salvador.
No, Honduras.
I think it was El Salvador. It was where things were really, really tough in the early 80s. And he was sent down there just as the church was closing out down there. And they had plans to make 6 stakes in El Salvador, like he did in Mexico City, how he made all those stakes. And he was training priesthood leadership and everything. And they pulled out all of the North Americans, except for him. They took out all the missionaries. Oh, I was supposed to. Oh, there's my tortillas. And he had one last stake to form, and they had to have all the leaders go up to Guatemala to be interviewed because the general authority couldn't come in. And when he finished that stake, they told him to come home. And so he told everybody he was going home Friday, and he left Wednesday evening. But he was closing out the church's bank account at a bank and standing in line, and a very unsavory figure came up behind him. And he just got a horrible feeling that he was going to die if he just, went and pulled all the money out. So we got a hold of the eye of the banker that had been helping him and kind of indicated to him to open up a new lane so he could take care of him, and he did. And, kept kind of eyeing the guy behind him, making eyes, letting him know he was worried. And he said, "Oh, senor, can you tell me how much money is in my account? I don't think there's very much left." And he held up a piece of paper that had, a few pesos or whatever they used in El Salvador, just minimal money. And he just grabbed his head and said, "Oh, how am I going to live?" And he went walking out, and they didn't follow him. He went back later to close out the accounts and get the money. But he just knew if he had taken that money, he wasn't going to make it very far out of the bank.
Huh.
And then he came home.
So do you know what part of Guatemala he had been doing work in?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I'm asking what part of Guatemala. You mentioned Guatemala. That he had
No,
gone-
he was in El Salvador. He was in San Salvador.
Oh, okay.
In fact, the mission president of El Salvador was President Call's childhood friend, Samuel Flores. And we were renting the Flores' house when they were still on their mission before they were sent home.
Huh.
Well, guys, our time is up, unfortunately, because this is a free account and they only gave us 40 minutes.
Hey, well, it's been good. It would be wonderful to have more time. You and I have lots of stories ourselves, Ron. Companions twice and served in two or three same areas. I forget.
Well, we were in Aragon, and we were in Madero.
And when I was in Chalmita, were you in?
In Tlani. Yeah, I was in Tlani.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we three different areas we served. And, we're in the same household, so that's fun.
I was having trouble with my stomach.
Yeah, we're going down, but you remember President Wetton was my dad's boss.
That's right.
Before he was, and then he married my wife and I. He interviewed us first, but lots good memories there.
And breaking out all these needles.
Yeah. Now, what house did you live in? Were we in the same house in Tlani, the doctor's office?
Yeah,
Okay.
we were. I was with Elder Wiggins, and I forget who you were with, but
My first greenie, Carl Barksdale.
okay, yeah. Oh, Barksdale. He became a Spanish teacher.
That's what I understand.
But yeah,
Well, I tell you,
taught
he was so excited to get out and go proselyting every day. The last thing he'd do was go to the bathroom, because we all remember how scarce public restrooms were.
Oh yeah.
And he'd come out of the apartment and lock the front door, and I'd look at him and I'd say, "Elder, you need to zip up." He would forget to zip himself up after the bathroom. Yeah, where did you go after you left from Salmita?
Are you asking at me, Ron?
Yeah. Where did you serve after Salmita?
Chalmita? I think after Chalmita, that's when I came to Madero and became a senior. I was with Jesus Tovar, and he says, "You hate me like all the rest of the elders, Rigby?" I says, "No, you're cool. You know, you're pretty straight with." And then when I got made a senior, I remember he telling me, "You stole all my contacts, Rigby." We baptized quite a few, but you stole them all, Rigby.
So you were comps with Tovar?
Yeah.
He was my
I-
first companion.
Oh, and he was my last senior.
Yeah, he was an interesting character.
Yeah, and you wouldn't tell very many people what his first name was, but he told it to me. Jesus. Yep.
Yeah, I wonder whatever became of him. He grew up in East LA.
I don't have a clue.
Neither do I.
Yeah, the one that I probably had the most contact with, the Elder Butler that we served down that area near Xochimilco. Yeah, he was the one that he and I got taken in the paddy wagon because they thought we were fighting with a member teaching his wife. They weren't officially married. Bishop got mad at him, but yeah, we were in that paddy wagon overnight, almost overnight. We came back in, and the district leader talked to me, his companion talked to mine, and they found out stories too. Yeah, we were up there for quite a few hours. They searched him for a dead body, and then they picked up some drugs. We got to the judge walked in, and they said, "Elder, what are we going to do?" And I had a feeling, just tell the judge the truth. And after I told the judge the story, he looked right at his brother. He says, "Are you Secret Service?" And the brother says, "Well, yeah, they'd fired him because he'd broken a high government official's son's clavicle who was on drugs." But he looked right at his brother and says, "Are you Secret Service?" He says, "Yeah." And he says, "Get out of here. You Americans start acting correct, and I don't want to see you back here." And we walked home, got home late. But the next day was a zone conference. Everyone in the zone knew about it for some reason. But yeah, we got saved. I could have been in Mexican jail still sitting there, but followed the Spirit and told the truth like I felt I should, and turned out all right. Yeah, old Elder Butler, Keith, he just built himself at his age, built himself a new home. Real big one, so.
Keep on getting feedback here. Yeah.
So Ron, what was the most memorable memory that you have of your mission?
Having a gun pulled on me.
Where was that?
Just outside of Querétaro. I was zone leader there, and we had gone to some little small, it was like a 90-minute bus ride. And
Cadereyta.
what?
Was it in Cadereyta?
I think so. That sounds
Yeah.
familiar.
Okay. I
But
can understand
anyway,
that.
This was right after a new mission rule came out that said no more hitchhiking. And we missed the last bus back. We were on split, so we missed the last bus back in Querétaro. And I was with I figured, hey, I was with a native, and he and I got along pretty well. And so he stuck his thumb out, and this first car comes by, this little Volkswagen. I'm 6'3". I'm a big guy. So I got in the front, and all of a sudden the guy who's driving starts slowing the car down a little bit, reaches over to the glove compartment, pulls out this revolver and puts it between his legs. And he says, "No se espantan." And then he takes the gun and points it out the window. And he goes, "It's to scare off the cows when they get in the middle of the road." Then he fired off a couple of rounds and put it back in his on a seat, and we drove the rest of the way back to Querétaro. But that was one of those moments where you saw your life flash before your eyes.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I have fond memories of Calarita.
Yeah,
There
after
was,
I spent 11 months in Mexico City, I mentioned about the 1 month in up in Irapuato. I was only there for a month, and then I got shipped up to Guad, and then down to the really small town of Salvatierra, which we could walk around the circumference in about 20 minutes and tracked it at least twice a week. And then back to Mexico City to Tacubaya, where in the same area I started off in. Then it was,
oh, for XX.
yeah. Well, I think we're going to let them continue enjoying their dinner. I think I'm just going to close this thing up, and
Okay.
I'm just glad that you logged in, and we got to know
What?
each other. I'm glad that you logged in, and we got to know each other a little bit.
Well, I'm disappointed that more didn't do so because, I mean, when I was down there, there was over 150 elders in the mission.
Well,
And
we're
so
basically
this is not a good reflection of the camaraderie that we ought to have cultivated while we were there. But oh well, you know. The sad thing of it is that when I was down there, there was 15 people or 15 elders and sisters who graduated from the same high school.
wow.
In fact, do you remember Lane Newman, Elder Newman?
He was my second senior companion.
Yeah, he and I came from the same ward up in Midvale.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was Blaine Olson and Chavez and Larry Howick, Gary Jeffs, Ross White. I mean, there was tons of people that all graduated from the same high school down together. And one time we had a district conference there in the mission home, and you know we all got together to talk about everybody and the girlfriends back home. Elder President Call overheard us and he says, "What's going on? Did you guys know each other before the mission?" And we all just started laughing. He said, and I forget who volunteered. Oh, it was Chavez. Chavez said, "Yeah, we all graduated from the same high school." And he was so stunned there wasn't anything he could say. He says, "Wow, I don't know how this happened." So yeah, Elder Howick and I were companions, and when I was out there in Agricola Oriental, there was Elder Howick, Gary Jeffs, and me in the same apartment, working out there, and you know we all graduated together. So it was quite an interesting, amusing situation, really.
Well, our son lives in Mesa.
Oh, whereabouts?
As far east in Mesa that you can get to, what is it, Apache Junction?
Yeah.
And I try to make it down there once a year. And maybe next time I come down, maybe we'll try to get a little Mesa mini reunion. Those of you down there, and we'll go out to lunch or dinner.
Well, I'm certain that Bob Blaylock would like that because he is always talking about the mission field and how delightful his experience in the mission field was. So, yeah, if you contact with him, I'm sure he would love to put something together.
Well, I know that he's busy right now. He's got a bit part. I shouldn't say bit part, but he's got a minor role in The Sound of Music.
Yeah.
Going on about now. But yeah, we had one of these mini reunions in Blackfoot because there's several missionaries from Blackfoot last October, and Rigby and his wife drove up, and Bob Blaylock and his wife drove up because they were on their way up to see Mount Rushmore. And we had a couple of others. In fact, we had a larger turnout in Blackfoot than in Salt Lake City, which is interesting.
That is interesting.
Okay, well,
Well, you know where to find me.
I just had one more person asked to come in.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Well, I was just about ready to wrap things up.
I figured you were. We were getting a movie set up for my grandkids here. They're having a sleepover.
So
So,
hang on. See, everyone down in Salt Lake's got their phones on mute. The only
yeah.
right now, it's just you and myself and Kim Carlston. He's down in Mesa. He served under President Call. So
Oh, okay.
in fact, I was thinking about you earlier today when you asked me what time it was going to start. I was going to. Do you remember when I came down to after my mission and I spent a P day with Mike Brady and you there in Guanajuato? Do you remember that? By all?
Vaguely, yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
pictures of that. I'll have to dig them out. And in fact, let me check my phone here real quick.
Mike Brady is settled in our area. I don't know if he's still around here, but he was in the DC area. No, not Mike Brady. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Mike Wheeler. Mike Brady's in California.
Yep.
I think.
Brady's still
Yeah.
living in the same house in Santa Ana. Now, see, Mike Wheeler was one of my junior comps when I was in Salvatierra, but I've totally
Okay.
lost contact with him. Yeah, he was from Maryland, somewhere in Maryland.
Yeah.
And I
He was
remember-
living in Maryland and yeah, actually kind of served the second mission, Temple mission, shortly after he got here. He started a business with a friend of mine as well.
Okay. What am I looking for?
So how many did you have in your group when you started the meeting?
Okay, what I was looking for is not on the mission webpage. So anyway, there were 5 of us, so now there's 6.
Okay. Who else was calling in?
Let's see, Greg Stevens. It should be all people that you should know. Greg Stevens and Dave Rigby and Scott Tarbett.
Yep. Okay.
And Dave and I were companions going down and coming back home. And we also lived in the same apartments, and never companions, but we also lived in the same apartments 3 times.
I had a class with his dad at BYU, as I recall.
Then, yep, his dad taught at BYU.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to see your old friend, my childhood friend, Terry Vomisil, this August. Our high school is having its 50th reunion. And, he's still living out in Stockton. And so I'm hoping to
Oh, yes.
go.
Okay. Yeah, we were in the same ward for 5 or 6 years anyway, or maybe longer, in Olney, Maryland.
That's
So-
right. I'll be right back. I got to check something here.
Okay.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna. Okay, I'm back. I had to go check on my wife. She's been bedridden for the past almost 3 years now and sleeps quite a bit.
Oh, dear.
Oh, Ron, I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, it's doctors have been guessing at a, just to me, it just shows that the Lord is not a respecter of persons.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's got a disease that's incurable, debilitating, and terminal.
Huh.
So, hey, this goes to show we have no way in saying how we leave this earthly existence.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you what, I've had a near-death experience, and it's an amazing thing to have. And so if you should lose her, don't feel sorry for her, because it's amazing where she's heading.
Well, I can't dwell on it too much.
Well, I doubt it is. If your wife is bedridden, you're not going to be making it down here to Mesa anytime soon then.
Well, I've done that. I did that a couple of years ago when our oldest grandson was ordained a deacon. I couldn't make arrangements, you know, when he became a teacher. And next March, he'll be a priest, so I better make it down for that one. So Dave, you still working? You retired at this point?
I'm,
Oh, I've
I'm
been retired.
working.
Oh,
I own a part of a business, so I've got the handcuffs on there, and no, life's not bad. I think it's going to be another 2-3 years. I can probably, I don't know if I can get bought out or if I'll just kind of make an arrangement with my partners to stop working and you know, if the business does okay, get a little benefit there. But yeah, I'm 66. I'll be 67 in August, and I certainly don't want to be working very much at 70 or beyond. But we'll see.
Well, I worked for 40 years, 16 working in television production, and then the last 24 teaching it at BYU, Idaho.
Yeah.
And so I retired at 65.
Yeah.
And that was 2 years ago. I'm now 67. I'll be 68 in November. It's, you know, it's
Yeah.
hard to believe. It's your body and not your mind that tells you you're older than you used to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope I've got a few good traveling years left in me with my wife that we can, you know, do some traveling. I've kind of warned my partners that I'll be gone a lot. I'll stay in touch, but I want to get out there.
So Kim, if you don't mind, what did you do professionally?
well, I graduated from BYU in building construction management and technology, and it was kind of a taciturn career path. I became a general contractor, general building contractor, just in time to find out how dishonest people are in the industry. And when the economy tanked in the early 80s, we moved to Mesa and found that the job I thought was waiting for me had evaporated. But I found myself eventually going into the building code enforcement arena, and I spent the last 20 years of my career doing building inspections, plan review, development services. It was a good career, and I retired in 2007.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, we've had an offer to sell our house to our next door neighbor who's trying to downsize, and we need to downsize because we're you know, just two of us in the house now, 4 bedrooms, you know, 2.5 baths, an acre plus.
Oh, wow.
It was great when we had 3 teenage kids here at home, but so we're one of the places we're thinking of moving to might be Mesa. You know, we don't like the heat, but if we can find something, you know, decent down in Mesa, we might be moving down there.
Well, think real fast, because real estate property valuations are going up like a rocket.
That's what our son has told us. He goes, when they bought their home several years ago, they bought it part of a foreclosure. And he goes, it's not like it was when we first moved here, Dad. Everything's going sky high.
Yeah. Yeah. The valuation of my property has gone up 400% in the last 10 years. Yeah, 400%. I don't know how people are making their mortgages.
Or pay their property taxes.
Yeah. Well, the legislature took care of that. So, you know, I own my home and I don't really pay that much in property tax because I got in underneath the wire. But there are a lot of people out there who just, you know, sweat blood in order to pay their property taxes.
Yeah.
I was fortunate because I had my house paid for at the same time that I retired. So
anyway, well, I have been recording this. I'm assuming it's still recording. So I'm going to see what needs to be done to post it somewhere. So David, you could at least see the first part of it.
Yeah.
And anyone else who wants to see it. And I got to somehow get a hold of it, get the attention of the guys down there in Salt Lake that we're done.
So, are we hopeful that in October we could have a full-fledged physical reunion?
Well, it depends if someone in Salt Lake area wants to put it on, because it's,
Yeah.
you know, if we just show up at a restaurant with a handful of people, you know, I can deal with something like that, but a full-blown,
Yeah.
A full-blown, you know, reunion, I'm too far away to
Yeah.
pull something like that off. I know there's people down there in Salt Lake who'd probably be willing to do it. You know, when I found out that I couldn't make it down to Salt Lake tonight, I asked Scott Tarbett to kind of be the host with the most. And
Yeah.
he's pretty good at volunteering and stuff like that. But at least maybe another dinner of sorts, if it can't be a full, you know, still depends what COVID's doing to us.
Yeah.
That's the big question. So
Oh, I have a suggestion for you, Ron.
go ahead.
You've got a pool of very spiritual people here that you're working with, and in light of the fact that your wife is having problems, I think it would be appropriate if you posted a request on the page, the missionary page, asking for their prayers, because you know, I'll be the first one to stand up and testify that the power of prayer can work amazing miracles. And so give it a try. You know, it's worth you know, posting it there and letting people take the suggestion and run with it.
Yeah, but I don't, you know, I'm a little shy about doing something like that, because there's probably someone else who has a spouse who's in a similar kind of situation.
This one, when I came back to BYU, had a lot of
Now, if you yourself want to post something like that,
people that
go for it. You know, it would be appreciated. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'll be remembering you and your wife in my prayers tonight.
Well, appreciate it, Kim.
Yeah.
Really do.
Yeah. I know what it's like to be on that virgin and then to cross over, and it's an interesting experience. So
I'm trying to get someone to unmute their phone. Of course, I could be rude and just say, you know, goodbye, guys. Well, Dave, I'm glad you got to log in for a little bit,
Yeah.
and I will do my best to get this posted. It'll probably have to go up somewhere like on Google Drive. I'll have to. I've never dealt with how high or low quality Zoom sessions, you know, are after they've been recorded.
well, for what it's worth, you've been coming through very clear.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Good to, yeah, everyone has except in that noisy restaurant. Well,
I think the last reunion I had with the mission was maybe 15 years ago in Salt Lake. There were quite a few there.
was it? I know that we had, like, Mike Brady put together, we called it the 20th reunion. It was the summer of '94 in Sandy. So you were able to get to one after?
No, this was after that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Kim, Dave, I'm gonna
head back to the wife.
this thing.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Greg. Hey, Greg. Greg. Hello.
It's nice to hear the other side of some of the stories, because, you know, I was further.
Well, he muted again. So, well, guys, I'm gonna
Call it a night.
sign off. Kim, it was great to meet you. David, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
And, you know, oh, Kim, one thing you said, it's a shame that we have so few people, you know, show up for things like this. Out of all the missionaries that we've served with, if you put us all together collectively, we've only got like 44 or 45 people on our little Facebook page. So I'm always asking people, hey, if you're a friend with someone on Facebook and they're not part of our group, invite them to join us.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of the elders that I knew, there are many of them who have left the church. And that's one of the reasons.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
finding that unfortunately with a lot of I thought were really awesome BYU Idaho students. They're now living a different lifestyle. You know, finding out now that some of my students are LGBTQ, you know, it breaks your heart. It really does. But, you know, we all make our own choices. You know, I'm sure there's probably some of us here that have a family member, maybe even a son or a daughter.
Yep, I resemble that remark.
Anyway, okay. Well,
Well, good evening and have a pleasant time. And I hope we can connect sooner than later. I'll talk to you later.
sounds good, Cam. Thank
All
you.
right. See ya.
Take care, David. Bye-bye.
I don't know how to turn this off.
Let's see if I might be able to kick you out. I'm signing you off.
Okay. Let me know when you come to Mesa.
Okay.